For years, Canada's fighter jet decision looked predictable. Most analysts assumed Ottawa would simply follow the same path as many NATO allies and lock itself into a familiar option. The debate felt technical, slow, and almost boring. But then something unexpected happened. Quiet diplomatic signals, subtle shifts in messaging, and sudden attention towards Sweden's Gripen changed the tone completely. What once seemed like a routine procurement began to feel like a strategic shock. This moment is not just about choosing a new aircraft. It is about how Canada wants to defend its skies for the next several decades. Canada's geography is brutal. Enormous distances, extreme cold, isolated runways, and the constant responsibility of protecting Arctic and North American airspace make this one of the hardest air defense environments in the world. Any fighter operating here must be more than advanced on paper. It must be practical, flexible, and survivable in real-world conditions. That is where Gripen quietly rewrites the rules. Unlike many modern fighters designed around massive airbases and complex supply chains, Gripen was built for dispersal. It can take off from short highways, operate from remote locations, and be serviced by small ground crews in minutes, not hours. For Canada, this translates into resilience. In a crisis, air power would not be tied to a handful of vulnerable bases. It could be spread out, hidden, and ready to respond. Another factor often overlooked is sovereignty. Canada has always been cautious about how much control it gives up over its defense systems. Gripen offers a level of operational independence that is rare. Local maintenance, domestic upgrades, and the freedom to adapt systems to national needs matter deeply to decision-makers in Ottawa. This is not about rejecting allies, but about ensuring Canada can act when it needs to, without delays or restrictions. The Arctic angle makes this story even more dramatic. As polar routes become more active and global attention shifts north, Canada's northern airspace is gaining strategic importance. Fighters must respond quickly, operate far from main bases, and remain effective in freezing temperatures. Gripen was designed in a country that understands harsh winters and limited infrastructure. That experience suddenly looks incredibly relevant. Economics also play a silent but powerful role. Fighter jets are not just bought, they are sustained for decades. Operating costs, maintenance hours, fuel efficiency, and upgrade cycles can decide whether an air force thrives or struggles. Gripen's lower operating costs mean more flight hours, more training, and more readiness. For taxpayers, this becomes a long-term advantage that is hard to ignore. What makes this situation truly surprising is how it challenges assumptions. The global fighter market often feels locked, with a sense that smaller nations must simply accept predefined choices. Canada's openness to Gripen sends a different message. It suggests that capability, flexibility, and national interest can still outweigh pressure and expectations. Sweden's move here is subtle but powerful. By offering not just a jet, but a partnership, Sweden changes the conversation entirely. Technology sharing, industrial cooperation, and long-term collaboration turn a purchase into a strategic relationship. That is why this moment feels bigger than a single aircraft. Whether or not Gripen ultimately becomes Canada's choice, the shockwave is already real. The discussion itself has forced the defense world to rethink what modern air power really means. It is no longer just about stealth or raw performance. It is about adaptability, independence, and readiness in the real world. Canada's big Gripen surprise may still be unfolding, but one thing is clear. Sweden has already changed the conversation, and once that happens, everything else follows. The story goes even deeper when you look at the political timing. Canada is not making this decision in isolation. Global tensions are rising, alliances are being tested, and air power has once again become the language of deterrence. In this environment, every signal matters. Even entertaining Gripen seriously sends a message that Canada is willing to rethink old assumptions and explore options that better fit its unique reality. There is also a psychological factor at play. Modern warfare is not only about hardware but about unpredictability. An air force that can launch fighters from unexpected locations, respond faster than anticipated, and sustain operations with minimal infrastructure forces adversaries to think twice. Gripen's design philosophy supports exactly this kind of uncertainty. It complicates enemy planning, which in itself becomes a form of defense. Training and pilot readiness are another hidden advantage. Lower operating costs and simpler maintenance mean pilots can fly more often. More flight hours translate directly into better skills, sharper reactions, and higher confidence. For a country like Zero, where vast airspace must be monitored constantly, this could quietly become one of the most decisive factors of all. Then there is the industrial dimension. Defense deals today are rarely just about equipment. They are about jobs, technology transfer, and long-term national capability. Sweden's approach emphasizes cooperation rather than dependency. Local industry involvement, shared development, and domestic maintenance facilities offer Canada something beyond a finished product. They offer participation. That idea resonates strongly with policymakers who want defense spending to strengthen the national economy, not just fill foreign order books. From Sweden's perspective, this moment is equally historic. For a smaller nation to challenge established giants in the global fighter market requires confidence and proof. Gripen's growing international attention reflects years of quiet development focused on real-world needs rather than prestige alone. By stepping into Canada's spotlight, one signals that it believes its approach is not just different, but better suited for the future. What truly unsettles observers is how quickly the narrative has shifted. What began as a predictable procurement has turned into a debate about philosophy, centralized versus dispersed, expensive perfection versus practical excellence, dependency versus autonomy. These questions extend far beyond one aircraft and touch the core of how modern air forces should be built. As this second chapter unfolds, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Even if Canada ultimately chooses a different path, the Gripen conversation has already left its mark. It has forced decision-makers, analysts, and allies to reconsider what matters most in defending a nation's skies. And that is why this story refuses to fade. It is not about a surprise anymore. It is about a transformation in thinking. Canada's choice, whatever it becomes, will echo far beyond its borders. And in that echo, Sweden's influence will be clearly heard. As the debate continues, another layer of this story begins to surface: trust. In modern defense planning, trust between partners is as important as technology itself. Canada is not only evaluating aircraft performance, but also asking a deeper question: who can be relied on in moments of pressure, urgency, or disagreement? Sweden's defense philosophy has always centered on self-reliance and transparency, and that mindset aligns closely with Canada's long-standing emphasis on control over its own security decisions. One of the quiet strengths of Gripen is how openly its systems are discussed. Unlike platforms surrounded by extreme secrecy, Gripen is designed to be understood, adapted, and upgraded by the operator. For Zero, this means fewer unknowns over the next 30 to 40 years. No surprise restrictions, no sudden limitations, just clarity, something defense planners value more than headlines. Another critical issue is response time. Canada's air defense missions are not hypothetical. Intercepts over the Arctic, NORAD alerts, and rapid reactions to unidentified aircraft are real, recurring events. In these scenarios, minutes matter. Gripen's fast turnaround time allows it to land, refuel, rearm, and take off again with incredible speed. That kind of readiness is not glamorous, but it is decisive. There is also a cultural similarity that often goes unnoticed. Both Canada and One operate with a defensive mindset rather than an aggressive one. Their military doctrines focus on deterrence, protection of territory, and stability rather than power projection. Gripen was born from exactly this philosophy. It was never designed to dominate headlines. It was designed to be there when needed, every single day. What makes this phase of the story especially tense is the international reaction. Allies are watching closely. Competitors are paying attention. A Canadian decision in favor of Gripen would signal that alternatives to traditional paths are not only viable, but attractive. It would suggest that smart design and strategic flexibility can rival sheer scale and cost. Even the conversation itself is influencing future programs. Air forces around the world are quietly reassessing their priorities. Do they want the most complex aircraft possible, or the most usable one? Do they want prestige or persistence? Canada's Gripen debate has turned into a mirror for global air power strategy. As this third chapter unfolds, the surprise is no longer the aircraft. The surprise is how much one decision can reshape thinking far beyond national borders. Whether Gripen ultimately wins or not, it has already achieved something rare. It has forced a major Western nation to question the status quo. And once that question is asked, it never truly goes away.